Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to discuss a meeting between two presidents, Trump and Zelensky. You're in no position to dictate what you're gonna feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel. You're now in a very bad position. You're gambling with the World War III. Trump and Zelensky talks on a peace deal in Ukraine have failed. The deal on rare earth metals has not been signed. Zelensky left the White House early with no contract, no banquet after, no press conference. Well, on the last day of the winter, Volodymyr Zelensky arrived at the White House for the first time since Trump's victory in the US presidential election for talks and the signing of an agreement on rare earth metals. The day before, the media reported that Trump was thinking about canceling the meeting, but French President Macron convinced him of the importance of negotiations with Zelensky. Earlier, Trump called his Ukraine counterpart a dictator with 4%, but soon told reporters that he did not remember such a statement and was waiting for Zelensky in Washington. I want to underline that fact that it happened on the last day of the winter. I think that people who are fans of the Games of Thrones could see the allusion to the Stark's family, and it's really alluring. So the meeting began in the Oval Office, and the great scandal began almost immediately. Firstly, Trump noted the bravery of the Ukrainian people and noted the merits of the Ukrainian military leadership and assured everyone that a very fair agreement would be signed. This is a big commitment on the part of the United States. Zelensky agreed that this document will be a step forward for Ukraine, but stressed that a ceasefire will not work. He added, "We will never accept a ceasefire, and the rare earth deal is not the whole story." Trump said the US would continue to supply weapons to Ukraine, but hoped that the large volumes would not be required. The heated exchange began after the Ukrainian leader said the US should provide security guarantees. So Zelensky mentioned that he signed the ceasefire with Macron and Merkel, and this didn't work with Putin.
My bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president, in 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire.
Yes, I think what Zelensky wanted to say. He insisted on the fact that Putin doesn't care about fulfillment of his responsibilities, of anything that he has already signed or said, and that's the truth. That's the real truth. Putin never cared about anything that he promised. Even to his own people, even to his own country. Putin promised a lot, and he broke all his promises with no regrets. And on this part, I understand Zelensky, where there are no guarantees that Putin will follow his words after 1, 2, or 3 years. But Zelensky made a huge mistake. He said the following. Listen.
Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have.
And that was a great mistake. Trump responded by telling Zelensky that he was disrespecting the US and had no right to dictate how America feels. You've been at a disadvantage since the start of the war. You should be grateful. People are dying. You don't have enough troops. You can't tell us whether you want a ceasefire or not. Trump insisted on this idea, so I would like to stop on that moment when Zelensky tried to manipulate with the World War III, gamble with the possibility of the World War III in the USA. I think that is that happened because of the huge, enormous misunderstanding of the American mentality. Zelensky stressed that there can be no compromise with Putin and added that the US does not fully understand the situation. In response, Vice President Vance urged him to be more respectful of the country that is providing aid to Ukraine. Have you ever said thank you? Trump asked. Trump said that the Ukrainian leader was playing with World War III and tried to put Zelensky in his place. If you didn't have our weapons, this war would be over in 2 weeks. In 3 days. I heard that from Britain in 3 days. Yes, Russian propaganda said that in 3 days Russian troops would take Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine. Continue citating Zelensky 2 weeks in something new. Then Trump began to say that Ukraine would have to make compromises when concluding peace and began to pressure Zelensky with an ultimatum: either you make a deal or we leave. Can I say something, Mr. President? Zelensky tried to continue the argument, but Trump interrupted him. No, you said too much. As a result, the negotiations ended before they even started. The rare earth metals deal fell tough. Zelensky left the White House and the final press conference had to be cancelled. Commenting on what happened, CNN commentator said that the following Putin's dreams are coming true. Fox News claimed that Trump actually kicked Zelensky out of the White House. Zelensky is not ready for peace, Trump wrote on the social media. He said Zelensky had disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office and can come back when he is ready for peace. Elon Musk then wrote, Zelensky has destroyed himself in the eyes of the American people. The New York Times writes that such a conflict in the front of cameras in the Oval Office has never happened in the modern history of the United States. Meanwhile, amid reports from Washington about the failure of negotiations, the Moscow Exchange Index collapsed. The Kremlin has not yet commented on the incident. Zelensky spoke with several European leaders afterwards, with many of them expressing solidarity. In an interview on Friday night with Fox News, Zelensky said he thought the relationship between the two countries should still be salvaged. My personal thoughts and ideas about this all. Well, firstly, I'd like to underline that Mr. Trump is the first leader of the country who is speaking and trying to get the ceasefire. Now, it's very easy to speak about support and standing with Ukraine during all these 3 years during all these 3 years of a real nightmare for Ukrainian people. The great problem is that this nightmare doesn't stop when you open or close your eyes. The devastating devil of war penetrates the souls of Ukrainians and Russian people. Even you live far away from battlefield, even you live in another country, but you have family or friends from these two countries, and you get this poison from the war every day, drop after drop. And people are dying or bombed or get injured or they get separated with their families. It's a great problem, not even the problem. It's something more than tragedy. And now we need to stop this nightmare. Just stop. Let people not die today. Let people not to wait for bombing. Let people just to get breathing. I am not for Putin. But if signing the ceasefire will let people to wake up after these all 3 years of horror, stand and sign. I am not waiting for the bomb, and I hope that I will never won't. And Trump is the first leader who started to work on ceasefire. Personally, literally on ceasefire. It's not peace. It's not any kind of guarantees that Putin won't go further and continue this devastating war after a couple of years. The whole world needs to think about preventing the further escalation of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. But now the ceasefire is the first and the most important thing for the part of the planet, for this part of the planet. The second very important thing is that we should remember that it's the final step, ceasefire. That it isn't the final step, ceasefire, and the hardest one. And yes, Zelensky could and would tell us that his country will fight up to the win, up to the moment when all Russian troops and soldiers leave Ukrainian territory and even Crimea. But in fact, Ukraine now can fight without American and European support, and America and European countries won't give us as much weapons as needed for the complete and unambitious victory, which would ensure a decade safety. At least decade safety. The great problem is in Putin. He decided that Ukraine should be and would be the territory of Russia. The fact that Russia can't explore and use its own territory isn't taken into consideration. Russian administration, Russian president just want more and more and more. And unfortunately now I don't know. I don't see what Zelensky wants from Trump administration and Trump personally. What should Trump do? Which guarantees now should he give? I think that Trump fully understands what's going on within the conflict. And the solution could be somehow in a natural way, if you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe for me and for this crazy cat. I know, he wants to be YouTube cat? Do you want really to be a YouTube cat? Ooh. Please subscribe if not already, and tell me please what you think about all this situation. See you in the next video. Bye bye, Sandra Simon.